So Breed better take his ass to the jungle or something, because he ain't getting his palace with any of these animals, and his quest is just out the window at this point. This episode of One Piece, for the most part, I definitely say that any person that is watching and trying to follow the original story, they decided to do some in-canon filler, or, you know, basically at the end of the episode, some of the canon bits from the manga was added in there. So at the very least, if you don't want to watch the filler, you should at least watch towards the end of the episode, because it added in bits about Doflamingo, pretty much what he did. And I felt like in a way that was kind of like a dick move in a way of them, because it's like, okay, you know, people don't want to watch these fillers, so we're going to make sure they're going to have to watch it, because we're going to add some canon bits, and if you skip it, you're fucked. So I guess in a way it was just like, at the same time it's also good, because it's like, okay, well, I watched all this filler, I might as well get something out of it. Although it wasn't too much filler, which is a good thing in a sense. The final fight with Luffy and Breed, it wasn't anything spectacular, honestly. Breed was just like a Horty Jones type of person, except the anime didn't make him look stronger than he should have been. He just really just got his ass kicked. So Breed was really not much. Pretty predictable as far as the whole thing of Law putting those earbuds in to distract himself from not getting, you know, caught up in the devil fruit power. And overall, just to wrap up with everything, it just felt like typical, nothing really special or anything. Last episode was pretty awesome. This episode, it was alright. It wasn't really anything special. I guess the ending part was the most important thing, because it advanced the main plot with Doflamingo seemingly giving up his title as king. But it was a little bit fishy, because he's there looking all depressed and everything. The people want answers. They're like, why did you give up your title as Shichibukai? And then he puts on a smile. A man that is in trouble, a man that is running, a man that is scared, a man that is fearing for the future wouldn't smile. So he has something up his sleeve, definitely. And just overall, the ending of the episode was some shit to get you real hype for, like, canon. It's like, oh shit, Scratchman a pool, Hawking, Kid, they're all in a group. Then you got in the newspaper that Luffy and Law have an alliance. Then you got as well Doflamingo seemingly giving up his rights. So it's like a lot of different things. And it was just like, yeah, that totally gets you hype, and it progresses things. And it's like, okay, good shit, we're finally moving back into canon. I personally would have preferred if this filler went on longer, not because I was necessarily going crazy enjoying it, aside from last week's episode. I just mainly thought it would have been better for Dressrosa as a whole, you know, the next arc, for it to have better pacing, not being too close to the anime, or the manga, shall I say. But nonetheless, it's the end of the filler, and we're back into canon. And with this episode overall, I feel like up until the very end, it was just like the end of Breed, and it was just really like, get Breed the fuck up out of here. Send him to the jungle. Maybe he'll find some friends there. Because other than that, it was like, Breed is Krusty. He's a Horty Jones 2.0, I guess, except I prefer Horty Jones, because at least he had like that whole racism thing going, and it made it more interesting. With Breed, it was just like, yo, dog, I want some animals around me. I won't be able to control them. So I give this episode 6 out of 10. I felt like, in a sense, it's necessary. Because, you know, it does go along with the main plot. But the thing with Law covering his ears, it was kind of predictable of how, you know, the petal fruit worked. And the finale with Luffy beating the shit out of him was like, he was never really that big of a threat. It was just his devil fruit power. And once you got the secret to it, it was just pretty much out the window. So Breed, not that big of a threat. The last week's episode made overall the filler as a whole not that bad. It was actually pretty decent, and again, predictable and whatnot. But again, yeah, I give this episode 6 out of 10. Looking forward, now that we're back into canon, hopefully they figure out a way to make some pacing issues go away, but we'll just have to wait and see. But I'm really just interested to see how they're going to handle Dressrosa from here, because now it's about to start, and it got me excited at the end, like, next week we're getting back into canon. Let me know what you think. First of all, Breed's defeat. Do you think that it was properly done? Do you think that it was too cheesy? Also, his power, of how he was, you know, not the weakness to his power. Do you think that it was a bit too predictable? And just overall thoughts of this mini filler. I feel like it was a pretty enjoyable filler, good filler, whatever. Could have been a lot worse, so I'm not going to complain about it. Again, just fine stuff. Nothing too spectacular, although last week's was pretty awesome. But that's all I have for this review. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Thumbs up for being back into canon, because while filler is good for the series as a whole, I prefer to see bits from the manga being brought to life. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome